Have you ever wondered how a simple vegetable like cabbage can turn into a delicious and healthy dish like sauerkraut? This culinary transformation is nothing short of magic, made possible through the age-old process of fermentation. Sauerkraut is not just tasty, but it's a powerhouse of nutrition too, boasting probiotic qualities and being rich in vitamin C. It's been a staple in traditional diets for centuries, and for good reason. Stick around to discover the art of transforming cabbage into sauerkraut. Creating sauerkraut from cabbage is a simple yet fascinating process. It all starts with selecting the right cabbage. You're looking for a fresh, firm head of cabbage with vibrant color. The better your cabbage, the better your sauerkraut will be. So, don't skimp on quality. Once you've found the perfect cabbage, it's time to get chopping. Slice the cabbage into thin, even strips. This not only helps in the fermentation process, but also makes for a pleasant texture when you're enjoying your homemade sauerkraut. Next, we add the salt. Salt plays a vital role in the sauerkraut making process. It draws out the water from the cabbage, creating the brine in which the cabbage will ferment. The rule of thumb here is to use about 2% of the cabbage's weight in salt. After adding the salt, it's time for the fun part: massaging the cabbage. This isn't just for fun though. Massaging helps to break down the cell walls of the cabbage, releasing even more water and helping to mix in the salt evenly. You'll know you've done enough massaging when you can squeeze a handful of cabbage and a good amount of brine drips out. Finally, it's time to pack your cabbage into a jar for fermentation. You want to pack it in tightly, making sure there are no air pockets. Once you've packed it all in, pour any remaining brine over the top. It's important to make sure the cabbage is completely submerged in the brine. This is because the fermentation process is anaerobic, meaning it happens without oxygen. Any cabbage exposed to the air could potentially mold. And now, we wait. The fermentation process can take anywhere from a few days to weeks, depending on your taste preferences. During this time, the magic happens as the cabbage transforms into tangy, crunchy sauerkraut. So be patient and let nature do its thing. You'll be rewarded with a jar of homemade sauerkraut before you know it. Patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to fermentation. When you've packed your cabbage tightly into a jar and added your salt, you've set the stage for a fascinating process to unfold. As the cabbage sits, the naturally present lactobacillus bacteria get to work. They begin to multiply, feasting on the sugars in the cabbage. As they do so, these friendly bacteria produce lactic acid. This is a crucial step, as it acts as a natural preservative, warding off harmful bacteria that could spoil your sauerkraut. But the lactic acid does more than just preserve. It also imparts that characteristic tangy flavor that sauerkraut is known for. It's a delicate balance, and the transformation from raw cabbage to tangy sauerkraut is a marvel to behold. The magic happens during this waiting period. But how can you tell when your sauerkraut is ready? This is where your senses come into play. The moment of truth has arrived. It's time to taste your homemade sauerkraut. Firstly, let's talk about how to tell if your sauerkraut is ready. It's a 3-sense check. Start with the smell. It should have a pleasing, fermented aroma, tangy and strong, but not unpleasant. Next, the texture. It should be crunchy, not mushy or overly soft. Finally, the taste. It should be tangy with a hint of sourness, a taste that's unique to sauerkraut. Now, once you've confirmed that your sauerkraut is ready, it's time to discuss storage. Sauerkraut, due to its fermented nature, can be stored for quite a while without losing its flavor or health benefits. Ideally, you'd want to keep it in a glass jar with a tight lid. Always make sure to press down the sauerkraut to keep it submerged in its juice. This helps to prevent any unwanted molds from forming. So where do you store it? A cool, dark place is perfect. A pantry or cellar would do just fine. But if you don't have either, the refrigerator works too. As for how long it can be stored, well, sauerkraut can last for several months. But remember, the key to long-lasting sauerkraut is proper storage, so don't skimp on that. Congratulations, you've mastered the art of sauerkraut. Enjoy this tangy, nutritious addition to your meals.
Watch the following video about vegetables. Maybe you will learn something new and useful for a diet of healthy food. For better health and longevity.